One of the first things that comes up when people leave to be on their own, start their own business, is how to get paid. Especially a personal brand business, figuring out how you get paid is a huge part of the equation. A lot of people just start creating content without thinking about what is that doing to eventually create revenue. So when I'm working with clients, one of my first questions is, what business do you want to be in? And I get a lot of answers, and those answers can be all over the place. It might be, oh, I'm a coach and I get paid for coaching, or I'm also a speaker, and if they'll pay me, I can get paid to be a speaker. I also want to create digital courses, and if I can get enough YouTube followers, maybe I'd monetize that, or maybe I'll be an affiliate. There's so many answers. The problem is the work that they do to create these businesses doesn't align with the model that they are chasing. So for example, I meet a lot of coaches whose main business should be driven by coaching revenue. And to do that, you need to do a lot of work to build coaching clients. A lot of the work is outreach and building the roster of people that would pay them. But they don't know what business they're in, so they're using content to drive their coaching business instead of relationships. And this problem goes on and on and on. Depending on the category, it all relates back to the same problem, which is, what are the ways to make business, and how do I align my business with those things? So today, 6 ways to get paid as a personal brand. That's what we're talking about. Let's dive into it. All right, let's jump into it. We're going to talk about the 6 ways to get paid as a personal brand. I have a little acronym to help you remember this. It's called SPADES, right? You're looking to be the king of spades. These are all ways to get paid. And the S is the first one we'll cover. S is for services. This is the lowest hanging fruit for any personal brand business. What can you do for other people? Things that they don't want to do for themselves. A lot of these businesses, agencies, consultants, coaches, freelancers, all get paid for the work that they do. And this work can be done for you or done with you. Done with you meaning you have meetings, you tell them the next steps, and maybe you coach them through feedback on the changes they need to make, but they're still executing a lot of this on their own behind the scenes, but maybe with some of your templates and things like that. A lot of coaching is done with you. A lot of consulting is letting them know what they need to do, you doing analysis on your end, and they need to execute the solution. A lot of freelancing is strictly done for you. Here's the inputs. I need you to develop all the outputs. So this model is the starting point for a lot of people. It's the hardest to scale, but it's the easiest to start. And figuring out what problem you solve and how to price that and prove that you can deliver a product in that way is the first step. As you get bigger, you might turn that service into an agency service where you are then paying other people to do the work that you are bringing in. That's an agency model. You could also set up project-based services where they know that there's a beginning and an end. They sign up for a certain amount of hours, a VIP day, an intensive, where you go through a system together, and that service is paid for in a lump sum. Lots of ways to do this. A lot of the kickoff to these things are certain types of audits or discovery calls. It's best for cash flow and best as an early stage offer. So that's services. The second way to get paid as a personal brand is products. Products is a scalable version of services. You're still solving problems, but you're figuring out how to put that solution into a form that you can sell without doing any work after you build it. Now there's digital products, there's physical products, there's softwares. So in the digital product space, especially for thought leaders and personal brands, a lot of that's going to be figuring out, how do I put my knowledge into a digital course or into templates or toolkits or guides, something that's useful enough that people are going to want to pay for it. And maybe bundling all those things together, because not everyone's going to want to just pay for a simple guide, but they might want to pay for the guide that comes with the templates. Or maybe they want to pay for the template that comes with the coaching, which is in the form of a course. I've definitely bought templates from multiple websites. For example, social media assets. Someone had templates. I bought them for $15 and I can use them over and over again. But it's a low value product. Whereas a course where I'm learning knowledge is something I pay more for because I want to know how to do it A to Z, best practices. So there's a range there, but the good part is you create it once, though it might be a lot of work, but then you can sell it over and over again. And it can also support maybe your service product where you have this digital product behind it where you offer your couple of coaching calls, but then you are supported with that when they're off the call by having the digital product as well, the course. So I'll have an hour coaching call with someone, then I'll say, you can look at the course I have to answer these 3 questions and keep moving along without me. So products are a great way to help scale some of the work that you're doing. Physical products are very common in this space. Think in this place for a personal brand, you're talking more about turning your knowledge into a journal or a book or an ebook or some kind of merchandise, or I've seen cards that people have created, or even planners, right? Things that help people move through their problem, but in a physical form. And with print on demand these days, it makes a lot of that a lot easier. And with self-publishing, the access is open to most people these days. So there's not many gatekeepers anymore to you producing a physical product. The other type is like a software. Software used to be for people with big budgets that could hire coders. Today, we have AI tools that let you create apps based on your ideas. It'll get you 90-95% of the way there, and with some tweaking, you can finish it. So apps is kind of the digital product of the future that's turning the power of AI and systems into something we can sell as a thought leader. What's great is any of these things work, products, services. What matters is how you're building your audience and finding people that trust you enough to want to buy them. So products are great for long-term scalability and the best for margin, especially if they're digital products. All right, third way to make money, ads. We're talking about audience revenue. Ads are pretty understood, but really it's you've attained some attention, you've created some kind of email list, following on a social channel, a YouTube channel, somewhere where you have eyeballs, even if it's on a stage, and someone else is paying you to share their message to your audience. So money comes because the attention exists. So there are a couple of forms that happens. One is sponsorships. This would be someone paying for you to say, this is a product I use, here are the benefits, here's why I love it, you should buy it. There's brand deals, which is similar, but maybe it comes with you using that product and being someone who's always an advocate or an ambassador for that product. Maybe you get freebies as part of that deal. There are specific sponsorships for like newsletters and podcasts, and those could be inserted as ads or as you writing something custom for them. There's also YouTube AdSense where you just, if you build enough following and you meet their criteria, then they will pay you so that they can insert commercials and give you a piece of that. That's best once you've gotten reach. You have to develop a large audience for that to work. Otherwise, the money you make isn't worth it. What's the point of running a sponsorship if you're making $1, right? So understanding what the threshold is for that is important, and just focusing on creating your audience. Again, if that's the business you're in, then your job isn't one-on-one connection. Your job is build an audience, if that's the business you're trying to build. Most people try this too early. They start selling ads and realize like they're going through all this trouble, but A, no one really wants to buy, and B, if they do buy, they're not paying very much because their audience isn't developed. So that's number 3. The fourth is D. This is the D in spades. D is for deals. Deals is you figuring out how to, with other people in partnership, make money off of their effort. So you've developed the idea, the protocol, the framework, and other people want to use it. The way you'll see this as an example is a lot of speakers who become popular for a book or an idea framework, they license that through certification. You can become a John Maxwell coach and teach his leadership style to other people. You can become a story brand coach and teach that to other people. Becoming certified in a particular thing, like DISC certified is one of the big ones in coaching, and consulting. So become licensed in a framework and then they teach it. So you can develop your own frameworks. The trick is it has to become useful enough that you're getting demand on your own and other people want to have that same kind of demand and say, hey, well, use my method. Instead of developing your own, use one that's been proven to have success. That's best for someone who already has authority in their market through a book or through coaching that has proven successful over and over again. And once that happens, it's one of the highest leverage because that IP is built and now other people are doing the work to spread the word and teach your ways to other people. And you're just taking a percentage of that. Another version of deals is syndication. You could have a podcast network or something like that where you're bringing the groups together and the benefit for you is that the deal is I'll bring the community together. I may be bringing the advertisers, but I take a percentage for that work. Right? Or you can white label your training for companies. That's take your IP, white label it, and sell it to someone else to run those trainings. They didn't do the work, they just use the thing that you've built. So deals can go on and on. Licensing is something that happens in the brand space a lot, where we license a brand and put it on something else like a t-shirt or sunglasses. So lots of ways to create deals. You just have to think about what's my leverage? What have I created that someone's willing to pay for? All right. The next one is the E. We're talking about events. Events is monetizing attention in real time. So at an event, you could either be the host, right? You hosted your own event, you charge people to be there, or you hosted your own event. It was free. And while they're there, you sold them something. You can host a retreat, a mastermind, a conference. You could start small and work your way up. It's a lot of work, but not only are you getting the reward of the profit, if you can make it profitable, but you're also getting the reward of, because you're organizing it, you're the main thought leader. And you can bring in other thought leaders and get that association, but you're the host. So you have the highest authority in the room. That's great for high ticket and selling high ticket. Someone's in your room, they've shown up, they've gotten a lot of value, and then you can pitch a high ticket offer. It shows credibility because you organized the event and brought in people who are thought leaders. And it's a great content engine because you get to film everything you're doing and show you in these environments where you are leading other people. Another way to make money off of events is through speaking. Let someone else do the work of hosting the event. You show up, get paid for your hour of content that you've developed over time, and you leave. Speaking fees is one of the more common ways to get started. As long as you develop those relationships, you have a talk, you have a framework, you have something that people are willing to pay for. And maybe you have to prove that by doing free speaking gigs first, and then you move on to where people would pay you. That same thing works for workshops and trainings as well. Getting paid to be the event workshop where you are teaching people something very tactical, or you're coming into an organization and you're running a workshop to teach them something very tactical. So getting paid for your presence and your knowledge while teaching people that in a real world forum. That's events. So that rounds us out to our last one in spades. So far, we've had services, products, ads, deals, events, and the last is going to be subscriptions. Now, this is becoming more common over time, but the benefit is that recurring revenue. So anything that they click once and they start paying over and over again is going to feel like a subscription. So one of the beginning models of that is like a paid newsletter, a Patreon group, some kind of donor model where they're donating to your cause, or they're paying for something small like a newsletter or a podcast episode, like special episodes, or above that, some type of paid membership or community. These can actually start to bring in pretty decent revenue. If you can get 30 people to pay you a couple $1,000s, like in a mastermind format, you can make a decent amount of money. Or in a membership, if you want to scale that up to where it's mostly digital and you meet maybe once a month to the whole group, but in the membership, you have all your resources and digital assets, you can start to bring more people in while charging less money. So a couple $100s, few $100s to join the membership, or a monthly fee of $50 or something like that, where they are continuing to access your resources while getting new information from you, is a very lucrative way to build a business. And you can start it small and with individual coaching, but then grow it into a membership model. Subscriptions What people love about it is it's very stable. Once you start the recurring revenue, you can figure out what your churn rate is, but people generally, you can predict what your money is going to be every month. It's really great for community driven brands where you are the thought leader in a community and people look to you to learn, to run experiments, to teach best practices. Typically, you might have to have attained something of status in your industry for people to want to learn from you. But subscriptions is a great way to build some stability into your business. So those are generally the easiest ways to make money. The SPADES model, that is services, products, ads, deals, events, and subscriptions. All of these easy ways to get making money through your expertise, through your knowledge. But again, figuring out what business you're in and how you want to make money will determine the actions you take. So you can get alignment between the work you're doing and the money you're chasing. That's how your personal brand could get paid. Hope you enjoyed those 6 ways to do it. Comment, subscribe, let me know what you guys think. And as always, I'll catch you next time. Brands on Brands.